Welcome, I'm Sarah, Curriculum Consultant at Rainbow Resource Center, and today we've got Suzanne Gose. Suzanne's program is See It, Say It, Flip Flop Spanish, and they were passing through, where were you coming from?
From Richmond, Virginia, heading towards Colorado.
And home is?
Texas.
So they're making the convention circuit, talking about the flip flop Spanish, and they came in and did some training with our consultants, which was super helpful, and I have such a better understanding. But can you tell us how did you come up with this program?
So we started with workbooks way back in the day, and that worked just fine, and you learn a few words at a time. But the flashcard method I developed because our second son has visual processing disorder, and so the photos really helped him to not only be able to speak Spanish, but to memorize the words. Turned into where it was actual therapy. The flashcards helped everybody to learn so much better, so the absorption of my classroom went through the roof, and I realized visual learners, audio learners, and tactile learners all really responded to the flashcard method. So then my husband said, hey, why don't you make a program out of this where other moms can learn the same way that you're teaching these kids in the classroom? And I was like, well, then we'd have to have audio. And he said, okay. And so we did. So we have the manual, the flashcards, the audio. So all you do is lay out the cards, push play on the audio, and I talk you through every single lesson.
And you know, I had to confess, so as a foreign language person, I first saw this and I thought, okay, well, those are really nice flashcards, but there's got to be more to it. So in her training today, I have a better understanding of this can appeal to a family wanting to learn Spanish, little kids and big kids, right brain learners. It's a very visual, auditory experience, plus you've got the tactile, so you're getting multi-sensory elements in there. There's a lot more to it than flashcards. Right? And we're going to bring in a couple of the little rainbow kids, and they're going to show us, but you know, I'm curious a little bit about your background. So how long have you been teaching Spanish?
Goodness, so many years. So many years. Well, we've been married 25 years, and I was teaching before that. Okay. So it's been a long time.
And your accent, you were saying, is very
So
universal.
I lived in Spain as part of my education, and then because I'm from Texas, a lot of Mexican friends live down there, you know, native Mexicans that have come over, or first-generation Americans, their parents were Mexican. And so I got made fun of because my accent was very Spainy, and I worked very hard to go from Buenos Dias to make sure my regionalism is accurate for all the different nations that speak Spanish. So it's more of a Midwestern accent. Nobody can figure out where I'm from, but they're sure I'm a native speaker. Whenever I speak to native speakers, they always ask, ¿De dónde es usted? You know, where are you from? And I always say, Texas. And they go, no, antes, before. And they can't ever figure it out. And that's intentional, so that no matter where you are in the world speaking Spanish, you're going to be understood easily. These are not Spainy words, they're not Mexican words, they're not Latin American words, they're just non-regional Spanish, and you can pick up the regionalisms wherever you go.
Mm-hmm. That's really helpful because, you know, a lot of people think textbook Spanish is what you're going to encounter when you meet someone who speaks Spanish, and that's not necessarily the case.
No, and you want to be understood. You don't want to be frustrated by using a Spainy word or a Mexican word to a Puerto Rican and they can't understand you. So I double-checked and made sure every single word with all of my different friends in my network, making sure that this is a word that will be understood. It may not be the exact slang term, but they're going to bring you what you asked for, or they're going to understand what you're saying for sure.
Because you'll always have a regional flavor.
Of course.
Okay. You know, we talked a little bit, too, about what age group this is for.
Right. We've used it as young as 3-year-olds all the way up to, well, senior citizens. So 93 and a 3-year-old sat next to each other, learning Spanish, laughing, saying and, e, putting all their flashcards together, and had a ball. And so they're both speaking Spanish. One is a pre-reader, another was a 4-star general, and they're learning at the same time. And that's why the box says ages 3 to 93.
And the goal is 3 times a week.
Yes.
You're going to do the same set of cards, the same audio instruction 3 times a week before you move on.
Right.
And about 15 minutes at a pop.
Right. Shortest lesson is the first lesson, which is 8 minutes, and the longest lesson in the whole 2-year program is only 15 minutes. So you lay out the cards, you push play on the audio, and then you sit back and learn with your children. And so you're relaxing and enjoying speaking Spanish, having fun. It feels like a game to everybody.
Well, I'd love to see how a lesson looks.
All right, let's
bring in the kids. So we're going to show a lesson today. I got a couple of kids from the nursery here at Rainbow. This is Roxy. How old are you?
7.
7. And this is Riley. How old are you? You're 8. Been playing outside, and we pulled him right off the playground here and came in for a little Spanish lesson with Senora Gos. So when they purchase See It, Say It, Flip Flop Spanish from Rainbow, let's show them what comes in the box.
All right, it's like opening a present. It's like getting a game. And so you open it up and you say, oh my goodness, what do I do? What's in this box? How often do we do this? What do I do with all this stuff? All your answers are right there. You get 3 sets of flashcards. These have already been opened. You get rojo, verde, and azul. Behind here, we get a paddle. This is not for smacking. This is for Pictionary. And so you're going to be drawing pictures on here, and then everybody else at the table will guess in Spanish. It also includes your audio for all of your lessons, so you are listening to every single lesson that's spoken to you. And then this is the front of your binder, the spine of your binder, and the back of your binder. So this is already hole punched, and you're going to pop that in your binder. And then the last thing that's back here is your flashcard pages. So this goes in your binder as well, and you can use them to separate out your lessons, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, or you can categorize your cards or use it for sentences. So all you have to do is open up your binder, pop it in, and then you start lesson 1, and it tells you which 6 cards to use.
You ready to learn some Spanish?
Yeah.
All right, so they say they haven't done any Spanish before, and so we're going to practice a few words today. The first word we're going to learn is me gusta. On one side we have the photo, and on the back we have what it looks like in Spanish, me gusta, what it sounds like, and the English. So me gusta means I like it. So we're just going to touch the words and get used to them. So touch and repeat. Me gusta.
Me gusta.
El osito.
El osito.
El helado.
El helado.
El perro.
El perro.
El libro.
El libro.
Muy bien. So which one of these, if we start with me gusta, which one of these is your favorite? El osito, muy bien. So let's lay that one down there. Good job. And we're going to say, me gusta
Me gusta.
el osito.
El osito.
I'm going to say it together. Me gusta el osito.
Me gusta el osito.
Excellent. You want to do it again, Riley? Me gusta el osito. Buen trabajo. And what is your next favorite one? Helado, muy bien. So we're going to say el helado. Repiten, por favor. El helado.
El helado.
Me gusta el helado. Buen trabajo. If I put these back here, can you show me, I'm going to mix them up a little bit, which one is the me gusta card? Excelente, me gusta. Let's put together the sentence. Me gusta helado. Oh, that's el osito. There you go. Ready? Let's say it together.
Me gusta el helado.
Oh, you didn't even wait for me. Good job. All right, let's do el osito. Ready?
Me gusta el osito.
Can we try I like the book? Me gusta el libro.
Me gusta el libro.
All right, and the last one we're going to try for I like the dog. Me gusta, and this one is el perro.
El perro.
Let's do it together. Me gusta el perro. Buen trabajo. Last thing we're going to do is try and touch some of the words that we remembered. I know you remember me gusta. This one's a little bit harder. Can you touch el osito? Oh, there you go. You did it. El osito. So we went really fast through that lesson, and usually the lessons are a little bit longer, but you all did a great job coming off of the playground and playing with me and learning a little bit of Spanish.
And you know, everything you said, a parent isn't expected to know Spanish. So where do they get that information?
The audio actually talks you through every lesson, and we do go a lot slower on the audio. We're taking our time to go through each word several times, so they're very familiar with it. And the very next track is when they start putting their sentences together. But you're just sitting back with your students, so you would actually be sitting with Riley and Roxy, touching and repeating the words. You're not going to have to say a thing. You're listening to the audio as I talk you through it. It's like having me on speakerphone.
That sounds lovely. And then the parent also has a printed
Yes.
guide.
So the manual, you're going to pop into a binder at home, and so we have the binder right here, and the manual actually lays out your lesson. So lesson 1 is right here. It tells you the 6 cards you're going to do. We only did 5 today to make it a little bit shorter for your video, and they lay out the cards, push play on the audio, and the script is completely written out for you the whole way through.
So each card has a number
Yes.
down here at the bottom.
So they're numbered here, and they're numbered on the back. So me gusta is their very first card. They get to say their opinions and their needs in their very first lesson. So at the end of lesson 1, they know 6 words, and they can put together 8 optional sentences of their own creation, not something that I've told them to create. They get to decide, as you saw Riley and Roxy do.
So on the back of the card, so just real quick, for the parents who don't come from a Spanish-speaking background, you've got pronunciation help, and the emphasis is in bold to help you really know how to say that correctly.
We usually take it a little bit longer. The audio goes much slower than I did with y'all. Y'all did a great job.
You did a great job. So the kids are going to get a lot of repetition
Yes.
though, because you're doing that same set of cards 3 times a week before you move on to that next lesson.
That's right. And you can see them already, flipping them over and looking, because it's that lifestyle of learning, because they want to know and they want to remember, how do I say it? And then the other thing you learn during lesson 1 is I need. So if you wanted to say I need something, necesito, what would you say? Yes, me too.
Necesito
el helado.
el helado.
Muy bien.
That seems pretty friendly and easy to use, doesn't it? So thanks so much for joining us on your road trip across the country. Should we say adios, señoragos? You
Yeah.
ready? Adios, señoragos.
Adios, gracias.
Thank you.